You were this first big signing of this huge initiative, right? That had to come with some weight on your shoulders in the build up to this and tonight.
Definitely, there was a bit of pressure, and man, there was so much outside noise. You know what I mean? There was so much, you know, with promoters arguing, and you know, signing with Zuffas, and then the IBF. Just every day I'd wake up, and there was a different drama. You know what I mean? But we just sort of had to adapt to it. You know, we had to focus on training, stay positive, even though we didn't know what was going on. We just had to, you know, knuckle down, keep our heads down, and do the hard work. And I think it showed in the ring.
Yeah. With all the drama that was in the build-up to it, was there any part along the way where you're like, have we screwed up? Like, have we made the wrong decision with our career path right now? Did you second guess it at all?
Not at all. Never thought for once that I make the wrong decision or anything like that. You know, it's just a bit frustrating when the you know, the stuff with the IBF and you know, just the politics. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I broke my jaw for this belt. You know, I fucking couldn't eat for 4 months. You know, I spent time away from my family, made sacrifices. I missed my nan's funeral. You know, she was you know, they don't see the sacrifices we've got to make for this shit. And then just to have a decision, oh, we're going to strip him, it hurts, you know? Like they don't know the shit that I've got to go through, but, you know, we're here, we live by decisions, and we're fucking ready for the next one.
Was it a challenge to stay focused? I mean, you can see the emotion now, right? Have you been battling this for the last 48 hours or so, and was it tough to stay focused?
But I'm more emotional dude, you know, when it comes to family. I go straight to water, you know what I mean? It means something to me, you know, my last name. See me get teary in the ring, you know, seeing that, or everyone in that crowd, it's special. You know, they come from where we come from, and sit here in front behind these 3 belts, it's we've earned it. We've taken the long route. Fucking proud of myself, you know?
Have the right to be. The atmosphere in there tonight, I've been at a lot of events here at the Apex. That might have been the loudest, rowdiest crowd we've ever seen. Obviously there's more people in there, there's more seats in there, but what did you feel about the atmosphere in the building tonight?
Yeah, I loved it, bro. I loved it. It's actually been a dream of mine, you know, to sing that song after a belt. It's bro, so many, such a roller coaster. That was our, you know, we recently just lost one of our boys, Gary. That was his favourite song, so that's why I was sort of getting emotional, because it's definitely not the same without him. But we keep pushing forward, man. We so much sacrifice, you know, and got a solid team. I'm proud to be here with Zuffas. You know, I want to shout out to Dana White and Ish that go for bat for me. You know, I'm new here. You know, this is new to Zuffas boxing, and I feel like these boys got my back. You know, so it's made my decision to be here more confident, and it drives me more, because we're in a fucking weird business where we gotta keep looking over our shoulder. So, you know, to have some solid dudes here for looking after us, doing their job while we can just focus on ours, it's a bit refreshing. So, you know, I appreciate the boys doing it behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You know, it's my goal just to sort of fight and look after my family and go home and, you know, do what's right for them. So my decisions are all made around that. You know, how it's going to affect my loved ones and the people around me. And when all these belts are gone and there's no more press conferences and no media wants to call me and say, how, you know, how you're feeling, they're the only ones that really matter. You know what I mean? So a lot of my decisions are made off how it's going to impact us. You know, we're a team. And a lot of people have sacrificed for this journey for me to be here. So thank you, team. We're getting it done. I love you. It's a special moment, you know. Be here. It's like a cool memory, you know. Crazy. It's just crazy to me to be here. Sitting at a press conference, people asking me questions like, what the fuck? You know, like, I'm just a fighter, man, doing my thing. Like I said, I do it for my family. And I'm just trying to push forward, you know, be better than yesterday.
Jai, could you see a scenario where the Zerto Benavides winner is your next opponent for the ring belt and I guess maybe the Zuffa belt as well?
I think next is a bit far-fetched. You know, like they're fighting, when are they fighting?
May 2nd.
May 2nd.
May 2nd.
I'm not waiting until May 2nd. I'll have another fight before then. You know, like, what? I'm not waiting around for them.
In 2026 then maybe?
Hey, hopefully, or we just see what happens, bro. Like, I've been chasing that fight for such a long time. You know what I mean? I've been really pushing for these unification fights, and still they haven't happened. But you know, we've had a lot of profile building up to this fight, and we've, you know, we're building a lot of momentum. So hopefully, these are the things that can get it over the line, which I'm confident they are, because this is why a part of the reason why we signed. But yeah, hopefully, bro.
Michaelian could also be an opportunity for you as well, right?
I would love to get him next. You know, I'd love to get McCann next. You know, I believe he's a good fight. But a unification fight, this is what we're chasing. You know, but he's got nothing on, and right now, heading forward, what's happening? You know, it's perfect. You know, it's perfect to fight him around that same time, that mid-year, and then the end of the year we can get the undisputed. You know, that's more perfect picture, but you know, there's a lot of moving parts to make these things happen. Winning the fight, all we wanted to do was win. Without winning, it's all just fucking imagination. It just all gets blown up in the air and it doesn't matter. So we just had to win the fight. Now we've won the fight, now we can get to the bottom of it, you know. So it is what it is. It was frustrating, you know, it was always in the back of your head, and it's that little, you know, noise, but what do you do?
Yeah, what was your reaction when they sent out the press release after, I think, Friday at the press conference?
Right, I just seen my phone, it was going off, there's heaps of shit on social media. But you gotta remember, this isn't my first rodeo with this shit. You know, I've been stripped before. You know, fighting on the Riyadh season, they stripped me. You know, and that's because Bradis, when I went to fight Bradis, he pulled out and then tried to postpone, but I wanted to fight on the Riyadh season. That was the first Riyadh season. If everyone can remember that, that was one of the biggest boxing cards at that time. You know what I mean? So to be on that was just, it was a world title on its own to have you be a part of that. You know what I mean? And that just opened up so many doors for me. So, you know, I've been through this. You know, we've always had to go through these obstacles. So it is what it is.
You know, piggyback off of that, you know, you given your history with the IBF and what you've just stated, and then everything that happened the last 2 days, you still, after the fight, had the belt. You're showing the belt now, where the other fighters would have probably just not even showed it and decided not to even give them any props. Can you, I know you touched on it a little bit, but why was that important for you to hold that title still?
Well, it means something to me, you know? Like the IBF, it's, like I said, there's a lot of sacrifice that got into winning that. You know, and I just want to make it clear that all this outside noise and all these people having beef, it's got nothing to do with me. You know, I'm here representing. You know, I'm doing it for my nations, you know, my family, and I'm putting my belt on the line every time I step in the ring. You know, in my eyes, you're not the best until you beat the best. You can't become a world champion unless you beat the world champion. You know, and that's, but I'm old school. I've been boxing my whole life, and I just feel like all this outside noise is just, this is like stupid shit. You know, I'm just staying on track and trying to do my thing.
Given your performance, what would you grade yourself tonight, Jack?
Not good enough. You know, I feel like it was good, but it could be better.
Last question.
Joe.
Hello, champ. Congrats for your night. This is your amazing night. What do you want to say to all your country, to all your people?
What do I want to say to all my country, all my people? Massive thank you. Thank you for the support. You know, we did it. You know, we're here, fighting on the biggest stages in the world, being part of different chapters in this sport. You know, we're making history. You know, and let's go.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.